So yeah, I mean, listen, when we think about what's happening here, I feel like all the signals point to, a major reset. Again, like I listen to what the elites are telling us in terms of like what they're warning us about, because, even leading up to 2020, they kind of warned us about a pandemic. With the dollar where it's currently at right now, I mean, it's suffering the death of 1,000 cuts. I even said like it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to be like a long sustained sort of, death blow to the dollar. But a new monetary system is quickly approaching. Like we have stable coins, we have tokenization. Gold is still, being acquired by central banks. Every single signal is flashing that a reset's coming. 45% of central banks said that they plan to buy gold over the next 12 months. The highest reading on record according to the World Gold Council survey of 74 central banks. This percentage has more than doubled since 2020 and marks the third consecutive annual increase. Emerging market and developing economy central banks led the increase with a record 53% of this group planning to add gold, up from 48% last year. Overall, 89% of central banks expect global gold reserves to increase over the next 12 months, and second highest reading on record. Central banks are buying the gold dip. The thing about this is that central banks have been hoarding up gold for years now. I don't expect that to stop. I really think that central banks, they are aware of what they're doing. You know why? Because they did it back in 2008. They completely imploded the system it's the same song and dance. Massive amounts of debt, practically zero growth. Something's going to break at some point in time. But, I more so look at like what's happening right now with like all of these big TradFi giants like the DTCC, major banks really kind of pushing forward tokenization initiatives. And it just kind of feels like we're sort of in, a transitionary period where, you look at what's happening with finance and it's changing. It's clearly changing. And whether or not these players like the DTCC are front running this narrative or not, it doesn't matter. The main thing that we're looking at is like, it's obvious that a new system is rising. And no matter what narrative they are going to push, like it's pretty clear that like a new monetary system and a new monetary reset is already here, and there's multiple catalysts that get us there in terms of like a full-on reset where it's like it's already like everything around us is fully reset. It could be almost like a 2008 like event, but instead of us just kind of printing our way out of it, I think that we will completely reset our entire system. And I don't think that's going to be a reset like everyone makes it out to be. Like, oh, we're just going to wake up one day and everything's going to be digital. No, I think that, what we're going to see is, just a big shift in how things work and how, money is moved. Like, maybe we will just completely like get rid of fiat currency and go digital through like one major like overnight, flip. Which does make a lot of sense, but I always come back to like the cyber pandemic sort of idea from the World Economic Forum, because like the whole idea of like everything going dark for like a day and coming back online the next day, and everything is pretty much based on blockchain or crypto, whatever. That makes a lot more sense to me, because that's what would have to happen for everything to go digital.
I've been hearing about the collapse of the dollar since the great financial crisis, and the dollar is the DXY the dollar is a basket measured against other currencies. That's what the dollar is. And since the great financial crisis, pull up a long-term chart, it's been up and to the right. So we're in a stealth bull market in the dollar versus other currencies. So I'm not saying inflation's real and the dollar has been devalued, but versus other currencies, it's stronger. So that when I've always been of the opinion the dollar is going to fail up, then they reset stuff. So the dollar system is designed for constant credit creation. When you create the dollar is a debt-based fiat system. More credit means a lower dollar. Less credit means simplified. This is a simple. There's other factors that cause currencies to move, but right. Just simply more credit creation, lower dollar. Less credit creation, higher dollar. So I think, so de-dollarization is actually bullish the dollar in the short term, because as people, there's always people scrambling for dollar liquidity. So it sounds counterintuitive, but I've always been under the opinion the dollar fails up, and if the dollar goes up too fast, too quick, it squeezes other nations and causes.
I even said back in June of 2024, like we're talking about 2 years ago, I said it's pretty simple. Revalue gold, tokenize it, allowing you to fractionalize it, and now you can back currencies with it issued out on DLTs. I personally see the gold standard returning, but not in the way everyone is imagining. There's gaps within the gold standard theory that DLTs fill, and as much as everyone hates them, CBDCs too. Every nation has their own CBDC backed by a fraction of gold, tokenized on a DLT, most likely private. Then we will have stablecoins, tokenized things of value, and you still need something to bridge these things. The future is going to hit the 99% like a brick wall all at once. But if we look at this is the coming reset of the international monetary system, and you have gold realities, gold myths. Essentially, gold would be the backing behind the SDR, which it could be an ESDR. We've kind of talked about that even with XRP, like XRP becoming a possible ESDR. And then you also have all of the nations, which, by the way, every single nation right now, they're launching stablecoins. They're looking into stablecoins. They don't necessarily have to be a CBDC. Even the US, like right now, we have a CBDC ban. Oh, CBDCs are banned. Guess what the US is, like fully backing and fully pushing right now? Stablecoins. Stablecoins are essentially the same thing. So you could replace CBDC with stablecoins or CBDC. Almost every nation's doing this. Japan's doing it. China already has digital yuan. The UK already has their tokenized pound stablecoin. Most other leading economies are doing this as well. The blockchains and issuers of tokenized assets that emerge as winners from this race could very well grow into the world's most valuable businesses over the coming decade. Tokenization turns 5.6 billion internet users into potential buyers of US dollars and debt via stablecoins and US securities via tokenized stocks. Stablecoins backed by US T-bills and tokenized forms of US equities create new investor demand that lowers borrowing costs for the US government and the cost of capital for US corporations. The result is a powerful growth flywheel, cheaper access to capital, more reinvestment, better products in the form of a stronger dollar currency, and strengthened US corporate dominance globally. The issuers that tokenize these assets and the underlying blockchains that they operate on are positioned to build generational businesses aligned with the strategic interests of one of the world's most powerful governments. The economic advantages of asset tokenization are too good to ignore, which is why we believe that all of the major nations and economic zones will try to follow the US playbook when it comes to stablecoins and asset tokenization. But this is actually from Ed Dowd. This is former BlackRock fund manager on the death of the dollar. So this is what he sees coming. So we're in a stealth bull market in the dollar, but the bad news is there's a new monetary system coming. I've always been on the opinion that the dollar is going to fail up, then they reset stuff. And that could also be another narrative, which it also does make a lot of sense considering the fact that like a lot of nations are moving away from the dollar, and a lot of those nations are hoarding up gold. The dollar system is designed for constant credit creation, and put simply, more credit creation, lower dollar, less credit creation, higher dollar. So de-dollarization is actually bullish for the dollar in the short term because there's always people scrambling for dollar liquidity. If the dollar goes up too fast, too quick, it squeezes other nations and causes serious economic pain. The dollar is very much a financial weapon, and it is used as such. So the good news is I don't think that the dollar is going away anytime soon. The bad news is there's a new monetary system coming. I don't know when, but it's going to involve gold because the signal is going to involve gold because central banks are acquiring gold and commercial banks are acquiring gold because they made it a tier 1 capital again, which is essentially the ability to create money from your gold.
Break, and they haven't broken yet. So that's why, like, when people ask me, what should I be doing with the stock market? I go, put it in to take some of your money and put it in the cash. To go, but inflation's killing me. Well, inflation may be killing you, but if the stock market deflates 50%, your cash is way, it's a lot better.
So yeah, I mean, listen, when we think about what's happening here, I feel like all the signals point to, a major reset. Again, like I listen to what the elites are telling us in terms of like what they're warning us about, because, even leading up to 2020, they kind of warned us about a pandemic. with the dollar where it's currently at right now,